Today on Squally Heifer Adventures, we are going to be building a knotless loop, a permanent loop with a simple berry method, and we will finish this off with a sewn whiplock. We will get back to the sailing videos again, but I want to make sure that people have this one. I haven't seen it on YouTube, and I've seen people removing the core. We need to keep the full strength, and this way we will keep the full strength. So let's get going on this video. So in order to do this, you're going to need a fid. This paracord fid, you just screw it into the end of the paracord until it gets nice and tight. And then once it goes through that, it'll hold the paracord, and you'll be good to go with it. So we'll throw that one to the side now that you've seen how it works. So for our project today, I have my pocket knife with my marlin spike, and we are going to do the simple berry method with a sewn whiplock. So let's do the berry method to start with. You're going to take your fid and you're going to work it back inside the paracord itself. You want the loop be as big or as small as you need it to be. I don't need the loop to be that big on this particular one. And remember, we did not remove the core, so it's going to be tight. We're going to have two cores plus the outer sheath pushed inside the paracord. So you'll notice that I'm having a little bit of trouble pushing that through, but you're going to work it through, and then once you get that worked through and you get the fid going, you'll notice that it'll go smooth after that. Not every single paracord are you going to be able to get this done with. Some paracords, the outer sheaths are just sewn too tight. You won't be able to get this to work on this particular method. But the paracord I'm working today, I'm able to get this done with a little bit of fighting. Make sure that your loop is good. You don't want to have any tangles or messes in it. Make sure it's all pretty in the way you like it. After you get it exactly the way you want it, go ahead and remove the fid. And now I'm actually going to have to cut the end of that paracord. I actually burned the end of it and melted it so that way it would screw into the fid. So I would just cut it off, and that way you're going to get a nice soft end on that paracord. So now you're going to pull the paracord back into the berry because you want it to be full buried inside. You don't want to have a tag end sticking out. Now we're going to work on the sewn whiplock. You're going to need some whipping thread and a needle. So this whipping thread is about a 40-pound whipping thread. And what I do is I'll probably take about a good 3 feet or so, maybe 4 feet. 3 feet I think would be fine. And cut it off. And now this is supposed to be a waxed twine. But what I do is I always get some beeswax, and I will then take my whipping thread and run it over the beeswax to give it a nice little extra. It also helps in making it stick, and that way it's not extremely slippery. As I put it into the rope, it will stay into the place that I want. I also do not have to tie a knot on the end of my needle when I use it, and I just have to loop it in there once, and it actually helps me do a sew into the rope with having to pull a knot through it. So I usually just do it once over, give it a bend, and that'll be enough to hold it. Now what I'll do is I'm going to fast forward this one, and I'm going to work on the other loop. As I went back and forth on my pocket knife side, it kind of got in the way and it slowed up the process a bit. So instead of making this process go slow, I'm just going to flip it around and show you the next one. So we're going to start the needle, and we'll always go on the loop side, and what we're going to do is we're going to work our way down through the line itself. So pull it all the way through, and I'm not going to make a knot. What I'll do is I'll pull just enough over so that way I can fold it down toward the line on the tag end of my stitch. And then as I start going through this, I will lock that stitch in, crossing it back and forth on either side with my needle. So remember, this is a 40-pound thread. So I have one pass, that's 40 pounds. That's two passes, that's 80 pounds. I'm going to, again, back and forth on each side. That's three passes, that'd be 120 pounds. Come back through again, that's four passes, that's 160 pounds. This is a 160 pound paracord, it's not a 550 paracord. So with every stitch, we're actually going to be giving it strength. And I will actually work this down probably more than I need to. I usually go about 3/4 to 1 inch. It's probably way overkill. You probably don't need that much of a stitched sewn whiplock on here, but to me, you can't ever be too careful, and I'll always overdo everything. So you work yourself all the way down, and then once you get down as far as you need, then what you'll do is you'll work yourself back up the line again. Make sure that you stay on the correct side. Don't get that loop caught in there. And then, as I get all the way to the bottom, what I'm going to do is I will then work my stitch, and I'm going to bring it all the way back up to the top of my loop again. Now I'm ready to start my whip. So I will start on the top, and I will start wrapping it around itself as tight as I can and bringing it all the way down. Again, it'll take a little while because it's going to be about 3/4 to 1 inch. I want to work it all the way down to the bottom. You probably don't have to work it down to the bottom, but again, I will do overkill. Once you've got the whip all the way to the bottom, you're ready to start locking it off. So at this point, what you'll take is your needle, and you're going to push it through the bottom of your whip. Get it as close as you can. Try to be as center as possible. And you tighten that up. Then take it to the top of the whip. Push it through. And you're going to do this 2 times for both sides. And so that's one on one side. And we'll bring it down. Make sure that you're on the right side and push it through. Again, you want to be as even as you want on both sides. I wasn't exactly even on this particular one, but it's good enough for our purpose. It's only a lanyard for a knife. At this point, what we're going to do is we're going to lock the thread. So you're going to take it through the 2 strands that you did on the top, loop it through itself with a half hitch on one side, and then you're going to push it through to the other side. And then once you get on the other side, you're going to also lock it off with 2 half hitches again. So after you push it through, it's going to be a little tight. We've got a lot of thread in there at this point. So push it through. And one more time. So there's our second half hitch. And now we have locked it off. So the last thing we're going to do is we're going to bury the thread. So you're going to take it, you're going to push it at approximately a 45-degree angle from one side to the other. Try to bring it back on the same side at that same hole you pulled it out from. And you're just going to go back and forth on this. I don't like to waste my twine too much, my whipping thread, so I will probably bury it all the way down. You only need to go a few times to bury it down, but I'll probably just go the whole way because if I have enough whipping thread on the left of my needle, I'm just going to go ahead and use it. Alright, the last thing you do is cut off the excess, stretch it all out, and there you go. much as you can pull on it. It is full strength, guys. The sewn buried method. It's a simple buried method. No knots. It is a permanent eye loop. It's not going to catch on anything. And you're going to keep the full strength of your paracord doing this. You don't have to, but normally what I'll do at the very end is I'll throw a little bit more beeswax on there and light it up just to help lock in all the threads and give it a little sealant. I don't put too much fire on it, just enough to bury the beeswax and melt it down. There you go. Solid as can be. It's not going to go anywhere. And now you have a lanyard on your pocket knife, or should I say my pocket knife. You can use it for whatever you need, and it is strong enough for this purpose. So again, it's just 160 paracord. You're not going to be climbing with it or anything else, but it will be strong enough to keep that knife from falling overboard into the lake if I need to. I do have enough cord on there, as you can see, to use the knife and not drop it. So there you go, guys. That is the simple berry method with a sewn whiplock on your paracord. So go ahead and give that method a try, and you can use that on your next project. Thank you very much.